In the 17th century, the Indian subcontinent was dominated by massive, heavily funded empires. In the north, the expanding Mughal dynasty steadily pushed its borders. In the south, three entrenched Islamic sultanates controlled the landscape. The Bijapur Sultanate stood as a prime example of this wealth and military might. They commanded immense resources and maintained standing armies that numbered in the hundreds of thousands. For smaller regional leaders, challenging these massive powers in open conflict was essentially a death sentence. The math simply did not allow for a head-on collision. Then, in 1646, the Adil Shahi command received a shock. A 16-year-old boy named Shivaji Bhosle marched a small force up the harsh, elevated terrain of the Western Ghats and captured the Torna fort. How exactly does a teenager with limited funding and a fraction of the manpower go on to dismantle two of the most heavily armed empires in history? Shivaji realized early on that fighting imperial armies on flat ground was a losing game, so he turned the Sahyadri Mountains into his primary weapon. He broke his forces into highly mobile units. When slow imperial convoys marched into the valleys, Shivaji's troops were waiting. They struck supply lines, created chaos, and before the enemy could counterattack, vanished back into the high-altitude forts. The Bijapur Sultanate eventually sent their most fearsome general, Afzal Khan, to crush the rebellion. Khan arranged a peace meeting, intending to use the diplomatic cover to assassinate Shivaji. But Shivaji had excellent intelligence and anticipated the trap. When Afzal Khan moved to crush him during their embrace, Shivaji struck first, using a set of metal tiger claws hidden right inside his palm to instantly eliminate the general. He deployed similar psychological terror against the Mughals. During a daring night raid, he infiltrated the heavily guarded camp of Mughal commander Shaista Khan, severing the general's fingers before escaping into the dark. By combining rugged geography with swift, calculated strikes, Shivaji engineered a reality where an enemy's massive army actually became a liability. The larger the force, the slower they moved, and the easier they were to bleed out in the mountains. Securing the mountains kept his army safe, but Shivaji knew his western flank, the long Konkan coastline, was completely exposed to foreign sea powers. While other Indian emperors focused almost entirely on land cavalry, Shivaji made the highly unusual decision in 1657 to build a formidable naval fleet completely from scratch. He constructed massive stone sea forts right on the ocean waves, engineered to withstand heavy coastal battering. From these strongholds, he launched a fleet of hundreds of warships to protect Maratha trade routes and repel maritime invasions. By establishing this two-front defense grid across land and sea, traditional siege tactics became practically useless. The Mughals could not easily starve him out or encircle him. The Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb eventually escalated the conflict, sending a massive force under the seasoned Rajput general Jai Singh. The pressure forced Shivaji into a tactical retreat, and he agreed to sign the Treaty of Porandar. This treaty led Shivaji directly into Aurangzeb's court in Agra. When Aurangzeb intentionally insulted Shivaji by assigning him a lower-tier rank, Shivaji protested openly and was immediately placed under strict house arrest. He was hundreds of miles deep in hostile territory, surrounded by thousands of Mughal guards, and his army was entirely out of reach. Yet he utilized his mastery of espionage. By bribing guards, donning disguises, and reportedly smuggling himself out inside large baskets meant for sweet donations, Shivaji slipped right through the blockade. Walking all the way back to Maharashtra, he delivered a devastating psychological blow to the Mughals. He shattered the aura of Aurangzeb's absolute power and deeply humiliated the emperor on his own home turf. The culmination of these decades of resistance arrived in June 1674 at the Raigad fort. Here, Shivaji was officially crowned Chhatrapati, the sovereign emperor, and established the independent Hindavi Swaraja. He built this empire strictly on merit. Key commanders in his military and navy, like Darya Sarang and Nur Beg, were Muslims, and he enforced rigid laws that severely punished any soldier who harmed women during wartime raids. Aurangzeb, driven by a relentless obsession to crush this new state, spent the remainder of his life and the vast wealth of the Mughal treasury fruitlessly chasing the Marathas across the Deccan, where he eventually died. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj left behind a masterclass in asymmetrical strategy. He proved that physical geography, rapid mobility, and a unified populace can consistently outmaneuver endless wealth and brute military force.